Hey guys, Brian here. Welcome back to the shop. So I've had this facing attachment on here for a couple of weeks now and done a couple of jobs with it and without it, because I can use the spindle without it. Using the spindle, I haven't really had any issues with the facing attachment. Depending on what I'm doing, if I'm boring a hole, then I haven't had really any trouble. But I was doing some facing and I was having inconsistent results, and after watching this thing, it's pretty obvious why. So let's take a look. Hopefully you can see the indicator there. It won't really matter. We're not in line, so it's not a valid number, but nevertheless it gives you an idea. So got the pry bar behind this facing attachment, and if you observe the indicator closely, you'll see that, oh, look at that. It's moved it like 60 thousandths. Yeah, almost put it back, 3. And you can see it's got a lot of floppy to it. So I thought, well, it must be the outer spindle bearings on this are goofed up. So I was getting ready to tear all this back off the side of the mill again, like I had before, and go in there and see about adjusting up the thrust on this spindle, because I figured that was what was going on. But fortunately I got smart before I did all that, and I got to thinking about it, and I said, well, wonder where the movement is exactly. So I got this light out, and looking down in the back here behind this gear, I can see that the whole facing attachment is moving in and out on the spindle rather than the spindle moving in and out of the head. So what I think is the bolts are bottomed out. They're too long. This spindle's been modified, replaced, something anyway. So the bolts are apparently bottomed out without having this drawn up, which could be why I also had that wobble initially to begin with. So I'm gonna take this back loose and put some shorter bolts in it and see if that cures the problem. Been doing other mill work on here, adjusted the rapid clutch and the main clutch, because they've been a little loose, been slipping. So I got them up tightened to where they're working good. So let's see about fixing this. Well, it's a whole lot better. Got the right bolts in here. So I've cured most of the run out issue too, looks like. If you can see that indicator there, I'm at +2, +1, +1, +3 or 4. Zero, -1, -2, -1. So I'm gonna set the run out on this face is within 5 thou, over 24 inches or less. Now let's put on the 0 there and take my pry bar, go back here behind this, pry on the spindle. So prying on the spindle, I get maybe a 1/2 thou movement. I assume you can see that. You can see that needle wiggling. Don't think it matters about which side. Yeah, 1/2 thou or less. So prying on the spindle. prying on the spindle with this 3-foot breaker bar, getting less than a half thousand, so I'm gonna say that's pretty good. Whole lot better than it was. Now I have to feel like my spindle bearings are shot. Let's just fire it up and see how true it's running now. Alright, here we go. Well, now that that little issue's been resolved, I feel a whole lot better about things. I'm glad I'm not going to have to tear this down and work on the spindle bearings, or even better yet, that I'm not going to have to replace any spindle bearings. So, I should have this back going again to where I can get started on my next job. I got a Kubota block to work on and a couple other things too, so that'll be coming up. I guess the lesson to learn out of all this is to be sure that you've got the right hardware. Just because it came off of one machine doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right stuff to put it on another machine. This facing attachment may have been on a later model machine that didn't have the plate on the front or the outboard quill support, because I know there is a revision on these where they deleted that when they changed some stuff around in the bearing setup for the headstock. And maybe there's a difference in that spindle part, or it could just be where this spindle face had been so molested on here that it's also shorter than what it is intended to be. Don't know, can't say. Happened before I got the machine, and no telling in the last 70 years what's going on. So, but it's a whole lot better now. Deflection of a half a thousandth and run out of 5 and the 24 inches I think is pretty good. Especially because the run out's not really important on a single point tool, because it's just spinning out there in space somewhere, and the 5 thousandths won't matter because it's only going to be 1 point, so it won't show up. And whatever that 1 point spinning that's where it's going to be all the way around. So, self-correcting. If you had 2 cutters on there, then you'd have one that led the other one all the time, but if just one, it doesn't matter. So with that, we'll say I've got that part fixed. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, I'll catch y'all later.